evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Anenii in Moldova. I like how my highlight of the region perfectly surrounds the V in Moldova. That's funny. But this region, as you can see, is in the heart of Moldovan wine country. We're near the capital of Chisinau and other large cities in the area. And we are bordering the region of Transnistria, which is obviously along the Dniester River. You can see right here. It is a region that is declared self-autonomous and is apparently very closely aligned to Russia, whereas the rest of Moldova is not. So, interesting fact to talk about for another day, but we're going to talk about the other side of the Dnieper River. Not much geography to talk about here as well. It's very flat farmland. You can see the Bu River comes through here, right by the town of Anenii, right there. Not much else to say about geography. And actually, I didn't find a lot of history in this region in particular, to be honest. So I'm just going to align the history of this region with the history of Moldova. Because the first time that any documented settlement was recorded in this area was in the 1400s. So I'm sure that there were people there way before that, but either they were just little farms that were just scattered and not one community until then, I think. Or people just didn't write about them. I don't know. The town of Anenii was first documented in the year 1731. So again, people were here. They just weren't gathering and making towns. They were just little farms here and there. Now for pretty much all of that history, this region was owned by the Ottoman Empire. From what I can tell, it was still very Orthodox Christian, though. Like one of those places that the Ottomans were just like, and you can just, do that. It's better if you're a Muslim, but you can be whatever in this corner. There are other corners of their empire, particularly down here in the Balkans, where many people were forced to convert. I don't think that this area was really one of them. I'm sure some people had to, but from what I can tell looking at it, this area has very old Orthodox churches. That would change almost overnight, though. In 1812, Russia and the Ottomans went to war, and Russia won, it being Russia. And a lot of land was ceded over to Russia, including what's now Moldova, and it became a Russian territory. They brought in Russian language, and they're already Orthodox Christian, so that helped out. And Russian culture, and I believe they still make a lot of vodka in Moldova. Because Ukraine is just right here, so was it Ukraine or Poland where vodka comes from? It's one of those. That corner of Eastern Europe was a big vodka-producing region this time during Imperial Russia. But Moldova has always been a wine place. And before the invasion of Ukraine, Russia imported the most Moldovan wine in the world. They apparently love it, but after that, Moldova said, no thank you, you're not our customer anymore, but I'm ahead of myself. The region was known as, I believe it's pronounced Bessarabia, within the Russian Empire at this time. In 1918, things would shake up big time in Russia. Imperial Russia would collapse and be occupied by the Bolsheviks, the communist rebel movement. So all of the areas that Russia had owned were just kind of left to themselves, and this area was absorbed by Romania. Moldova and Romania have a lot of cultural similarities. They have their differences, but they're a lot more similar than Moldova would like to admit, to be honest. So it was part of Romania until 1940, when the Soviets invaded due to the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. That was an agreement between Soviet Russia and Nazi Germany, saying like, hey, before World War II officially broke out, they were like, say we go to war, okay? Let's divide up Europe now. Let's draw our lines and we'll agree that we'll control one end, you'll control the other. So this area fell under the Soviets in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. So they stepped right in and said, well, this is our land actually. We signed an agreement with the Nazis that they wouldn't invade. Not that the Nazis were very good about keeping their word. But the Soviets stepped in and held on to this region until 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union. Obviously, some parts of Moldova were very heartbroken about that and still trying to live the Soviet lifestyle. But not this region. It became part of the independent country of Moldova. And that's pretty much all that I have for you about the region. Like I said, I only have little snippets here and there. The only other place that I found with some historical significance was a beautiful wine chateau near Anenii, which today is called Castle Nimi. I'm going to pull up Google Earth so I can show you what this place looks like, and then we're going to look at that chateau. So here is Anenii. Let me zoom out so that you can see exactly where we are in the world. If you have no idea where Moldova is, I'm sure some of my viewers may have never even heard of Moldova. So here's Europe. We have Eastern Europe here. You can see here's Ukraine. There's Romania. There's Moldova right here. See the Black Sea down here. Russia's way up there, of course. You have the Balkans down here. But here's Moldova. The capital of Chisinau is right up here. I heard it pronounced Chisinau, but I've always heard Chisinau. But now, of course, I've heard it pronounced differently. I'm doubting myself. Let me know, any Moldovans or Romanians, how you pronounce it, because I've always heard Chisinau. But here we can see Anenii, and as you can see, there's not a lot here. It is beautiful farming landscape, little communities here and there. It's all very lovely, lush farmland. Like I said, wine country, right? Let's look at this slideshow real quick. You can see some pretty Orthodox churches. The landscape here, it reminds me very much of Northern California, where I grew up. Little roadside chapel here. A beautiful building here. I'm not sure what it is. It looks very important. Little farm. A beautiful garden. This must be at the chateau. Like almost a French style garden. Growing lavenders and that lovely must smell incredible. Little highway here over the river. Just this gorgeous landscape. It's so pretty. Looks like the weather there's really nice too. It must be if they're growing wine. Going jet skiing on the river. Lavender, I think those are poppies. It looks so pleasant. I wouldn't mind visiting here, even though there's not much to see. So let's check out the chateau. I think it's over here. I just have to type it in, so I'm not doing a mad hunt for it. Maybe over here, no. I know it was near the town of Anenii, but not within it. It's not this, right? Mimi Castle. I was so close. I'm sure I could have found that on my own. But it is a lovely, you can see from here, a little pretty French style chateau that has pretty gardens. It's hard to see from up here. Big lawns and everything. Let me show you the slideshow. It is, of course, a wine chateau. This building was built in 1901. It was renamed recently. But you can get some really good looking food here. That looks delicious. Little gift shop. And yeah, it's a beautiful building. Look at that. How pretty is that? It looks very fancy and sophisticated. It looks like you would only come here if you were doing some kind of fancy engagement or some fancy wine tasting. And it's all decked out for Christmas here. Oh, how peaceful. It's very nice. Oh, look, there's a little throne. Oh, I can't zoom in anymore, but there's Santa there, and you can sit in Santa's chair. In America, you cannot sit in Santa's chair. Look, they have a swimming pool. In America, only Santa's allowed to sit in the chair. You have to sit in his lap. I don't know if that's different in Moldova. The only other place that I found that was kind of interesting was out here in the countryside. This Soviet Mosaic bus station. A little leftover from Soviet times, a run-down bus stop. And someone brought their dogs out here for a photo shoot. They're very sweet puppies. Look how cute. But look at this. It looks like they were trying to make like Roman style mosaic art, doesn't it? This looks like a Hercules kind of figure. This toga and sandals. That's not a toga. What were those called? I don't know. But we've got the sun. It looks like a polar bear, but I'm sure it's not. It's just a bear. There's a dragon, scorpion, some ladies over here. Maybe they're goddesses. There's a goose and a lion. I wonder if it's like something to do with Hercules, like challenges of Hercules, maybe, but I don't know. Sweet doggies. But just one of the many little relics that dot Eastern Europe. Just very old Soviet structures, I suppose. I found little pictures of farms and things, but they weren't terribly fascinating. Feel free to explore this region on your own, though, and let me know if you find anything cool. I'll look it up right away. But I'm actually going to end the video here. So thank you so much for watching. Let's see if the slideshow of the town is anything interesting to add. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. This is an ongoing series on my channel, and next we're going to be heading back to one of my favorite places, good old Nauru, the weird little island. It's pretty rough. In the Pacific Ocean that has a history unlike any other, and is the reason that my channel exists. I researched Nauru on a whim one day and thought, wow, everyone needs to know about Nauru. It's so strange. And then I thought, ASMR channel about geography. Ding, ding, ding. So you can thank Nauru for my channel. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. I hope that you found this video relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good